Well, would you look at that? Bungie did it again. These guys just can't help themselves, can they? You know what's funny? In my Dear Destiny video, I wanted to just go out on a positive note, and I even said in that video that I don't want my channel to turn into just dunking on Bungie. But truth be told, that's kind of where I'm at now, because I do want to point out all the shitty practices that they do so that people stop supporting them, because truth be told, they don't deserve your support. I made that toxic mindset that is killing AAA gaming video. And in that, when I made that video on Justin Truman's GDC talk, it really pulled the curtain back and let me see their mindset into how they develop Destiny. And I can truly tell you that they don't care about you as players. They care about you as metrics. And this Rite of the Nine stuff proves that. Continue your conquest of the Spire the Watcher dungeon. Quests are now available for a dungeon exotic and a holofoil version of Liminal Vigil. So if you don't know what's going on, Rite of the Nine was basically this year's Pantheon. So last year we had Into the Light, and yes, Into the Light had time gating, which I personally wasn't a fan of, but it had enough content to satisfy you for the week, and then the next week more content came out. I think there was like 12 weapons, and you would get 2 per week over the course of like 6 weeks, something like that. Comment down below if I'm off on those numbers, but basically it gave you 1 week to grind like the featured weapons, and then the next week you'd grind the rest. And then Pantheon came along, and Pantheon had like 5 Underlight, 10 Underlight, 15 Underlight, and 20 Underlight, and each week you got to do a different boss rush mode at a higher power delta, and I think you could even go back and play the previous ones. So what they should have done with Rite of the Nine is released Ghosts of the Deep. So all the people that farmed the hell out of Spire the Watcher last week could go on to Ghosts. Still keep Spire open if people didn't get a chance to do it. But Bungie loves to keep you on their timeline. I just did my Gilded Conqueror, and I was talking to Chablo and my chat. And basically they said this Tanks vs. Briggs event takes about 10 hours to grind out the Sparrow, and it's only available for 1 week. So if you happen to be busy this week and you can't find 10 hours, well, I guess you're out of luck and you have to pay money for the Sparrow, or you don't get it. So that's just the way they work. So anyways, we are going to be looking at some Twitter reactions. Well, here you go. Basically, here's Fallout. LOL, rumors are true. Rite of the Nine is time gated. That's unfortunate. Mr. Gaming Counselor has a really good reply. Time gating the tactic needs to die. And I agree. Literally, it is this tactic that has driven me away from wanting to cover and play Destiny anymore, because I'm just tired of my time being disrespected. That's really what it comes down to for me. I even waited a few hours to make this video because I wanted to see if they responded. And I checked out the Destiny 2 team and whatever else. No response from Destiny 2 team. May 12th was their last tweet. You've got Bungie help. They're just saying maintenance is complete. We've got some... Let me pull this over. We've got the patch note update. Again, nothing on this. So yeah, this is intentional. Maybe there's enough noise that they will reverse course on this. We'll see, but here's them just straight up lying.
Spire is the featured dungeon, so there's going to be one of these 3 dungeons featured during each week of the event on a sort of rolling basis.
Okay.
Hello? He literally just lied in 4K! I knew I wasn't tripping, bro. I knew I wasn't tripping.
So there you go. Sweatsicle is obviously pissed off. I replied dogshit company, because they are. They do this all the time. I have been rallying against time gating for literally probably like 5 years, and it's only gotten more egregious and worse. And like I said, it's been driving me away. Revenant says, why hasn't it rotated? But yeah, basically the entire community is just super annoyed. Above TP. Spire the Watcher again. No, man. Like, everyone rip. Wow. Everyone's pissed off. Hugo, so they couldn't just announce it, was indeed the 3-week rotation rather than saying nothing. Again, there's radio silence for over 2 hours on their social media channels. Basically, they knew this was going to be unpopular, so they just kicked the can down the road and let people find out when they go to log in each week so that they can get their weekly player metrics. And yeah, basically, we're on a 3-week rotation. Everyone's pissed about it. They announced it in like streamer tourney thing, but still not very accessible. Like, they have TWIDs every week. You can't put that in the TWID. So I guess this might be how it's actually coming out if you're interested. Let's look at the next one. G Miners, another popular YouTuber. So excited for two more weeks of running Spire the Watcher. I love time-gated content. Thanks, Bungie. Nuktuk, he actually used to be my editor. Great guy, super awesome dude. I'm also very sad I have to wait 2 more weeks for my fave dungeon. Abilities, only calling my name again. So yeah, everyone, why don't you just quit this shitty game already? Imagine still playing this trash. That's pretty common. The game itself is good. Actually, speaking of that, way back when I was complaining after my Solo Flawless Dungeon guide on Sundered Doctrine, I was saying, who knows how long it's going to take to fix Ionic Sentry? I believe that was in February. We're now mid-May. So about 3.5 months to fix the new aspect on Warlocks. So they did get around to it. But yeah, I didn't really want to wait 3.5 months to make new build videos on Ionic Sentry, so that's unfortunate. Llama D2, another really good YouTuber. Yeah, I feel this could have been handled way better. Exactly. Just give people the information. Just let people know that it's going to be 3 weeks of one, 3 weeks of the next, 3 weeks of the next. Don't just hide and then when they log into the game, then they're just disappointed. If they know ahead of time, then that's just better for everyone. They like manage expectations. People were obviously expecting 1 dungeon per week, which is still time gating. I laughed last week when I heard, oh my god, because my clanmates wanted to get on and do the dungeon, and my one friend said, oh, it's only Spire this week. And I literally laughed out loud when I read that. I was like, of course they're time gating it. And now not only are they time gating an already limited time event, they're time gating it even more egregiously to try to get them to that July window, just so people will log in 2 more weeks from now and then 3 weeks after them, just so they can keep having their weekly player metrics, because truly that's all they care about. I do know, let me check my notifications. If I go back far enough, somebody tagged me in a post. Here's that post. So if you think this is going to get any better, this was on May 7th. Justin Truman is now VP of Destiny at Bungie. He previously served as the studio's chief development officer. And at the time of that GDC presentation that he gave, I believe he was the GM. So it says he replaces Mark Noseworthy, who reportedly left alongside Luke Smith following the cancellation of Destiny Project Payback. So this guy is the one that says don't over-deliver, that says we're more worried about velocity than quality. This is the guy who is putting Destiny in this direction, and now he's the VP of Destiny. He's getting promoted. He's failing upwards. The game is getting worse because this guy is getting promoted. So yeah, if you think the future is going to be any better, and it's a shame, I didn't do any breakdown, but I did watch the Edge of Fate reveal. They do have some cool stuff coming, but it's going to be drip fed to you, and you're just going to have to keep logging on every week for just a little bit of extra content. Like, what is the extra content this week? 1 new quest or something? I logged in to see what's up. Yeah, so maybe this was last week. I don't even know. I didn't play any of it. Now that I've got my Gilded Conquer, I don't plan on playing it at all. But yeah, there's just like a few quests that you can do. And I don't know, maybe this one just came out this week, and then there'll be the machine gun next week, because I'm not seeing the machine gun. So yeah, which arguably I would say is the best offering from Spire the Watcher. So they're even time getting a quest for the best weapon, in my opinion. GSXR Clyde, LMAO, they could have told the community. Exactly. For a company that says they're so... And I mean, they do a good job of communicating with their community, but this was piss poor communication. They knew there'd be backlash, so they just waited till the 11th hour for people to find out, when they could have given them a warning ahead of time. Like, I feel bad for Swetsicle and Clyde and all these guys. They were probably logging on, had teams ready to go for Ghosts of the Deep, had loadouts ready to go, excited. Trust me, you need to stop pissing these people off. You have less people than ever that care about your game, but the ones that do, you're just treating them like shit. They are excited to get on and grind something new. A contest goes to the deep. That's exciting. Nope, you gotta wait 2 more weeks. So now, fuck you, I guess. Here's Fallouts, and yeah, obviously, bruh, limited time event 2, no. As someone who doesn't play often anymore, this FOMO is one of the many reasons why I started to engage less with the game. Completely agree, so did I. Time gating removing content is just a self-inflicted wound, 100%. They will never ever learn. Just let players play. This is 1,000% why I wanted to move on from the game. I've sunk 100 hours into Death Stranding, totally beat the game, and I was able to play that on my own time. I could log on for 2 hours, I could log on for 20 minutes and get stuff done. I was doing it in between intermissions of the Knights and Oilers games, just doing like one delivery or building some zip lines. This game, you can't do what you want when you want. Special Hero, one of the most dedicated players to Destiny, 3 weeks aspire, ... Like, time to play Doom. So there you go. You've got one of your most dedicated players, and maybe he would have played, no, he wouldn't have been playing Doom if Ghost of the Deep was out at all. But now he is, and I'm happy for him. I hope he has a ton of fun on Doom, honestly. D2 posting, I do not understand why Rights of the 9 dungeons are on a rotation at all, by the way. Like, what is even the point of having to wait for the rotation instead of just jumping in to farm the dungeon holofoil you want? Thank you. Like I said, last week, I laughed that all 3 weren't out already, and now they're still not out. Time getting this seems like such a weird idea that benefits no one. The one person that it benefits is people like Justin, because they're going to have higher weekly active user counts, and that is a metric that companies care about, other companies and whatever, so that they can get these collabs like these Star Wars collabs. Trust me, I know this. My sister, her best friend's husband, or one of her good friends' husband, he is one of these people that tries to, he's like an intermediary where they try to find these different IPs, so like a Destiny and a Fortnite. They try to find something that they can collab on, and a huge thing that they look at is these weekly active user metrics. So a huge way that they probably got this Star Wars collab was by having good weekly active user metrics. So if you think it benefits no one, it does not benefit the player, but Bungie doesn't give a fuck about you. I cannot stress that enough. Like I said, that video I made really peeled the curtain back, opened my eyes to actually how shitty Bungie is, and this is not an indictment of the developers. Their hands are tied. I worked for a company with really piss poor management too. It shouldn't reflect on the people under them, bad management, but like I said, it does benefit the higher ups of the company and no one else. It's not benefiting the players. It's not benefiting the devs. I feel bad for DMG and these people that are going to have to do like crowd control and like ease the pain to the community that are on the front lines. Like, poor DMG, man. He was getting death threats and stuff, which is fucked. But again, they're the forward-facing people for Destiny. They take the brunt of management's poor decisions. It's completely unfair. And they're going to have to, again, like I said, look how many Twitter tabs I have opened. And that's just, I stopped my whole feed. I made this Destiny Twitter, it's TizzleYT, to follow other Destiny creators. So even though I don't really play the game anymore, my social media feed is still a lot of Destiny. So when something like this happens, my entire feed is just filled with all this type of stuff. And but like I said, I had to stop like putting up tabs, otherwise I wasn't gonna like be able to fit them all for the video. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that Bungie just doesn't care about its players. The higher ups don't. Again, the developers, again, this isn't even good for the developers. They've made a cool event like Spyro the Watcher. They had new mechanics in there that honestly looked pretty cool. I watched CPZ solo flawless it, and yeah, you can see the changes they made. They're pretty sweet. The balancing seems quite good. Yeah, it can be one phase, but you need like hyper optimization from the best teams in the world. I think the developers really nailed the balance of this dungeon. And they probably did for the other two, but now the community has to wait another 2 weeks to get their hands on Ghost of the Deep and like another month to see Prophecy, which is just bullshit. Outro, the fact that they didn't say when each dungeon was coming out means that they knew the backlash would be crazy, yet they still did it. Again, they do this all the time. They know the backlash is going to be horrible, but the managers don't care. It's like, the backlash is less important than the bottom line is what it comes down to. Llama. Okay, I think I already talked about llamas. NG miners. Maybe I got mixed up, or I had them pulled them up twice. Ember, at least tell us the dungeons aren't coming out every week instead of getting hopes up and just saying nothing. Moving weird. Exactly, like I said, with all these streamers, Sweatsicle and Special Hero, they were all lined up, ready to do Ghost of the Deep, and now they're going to go play Doom. Bungie, please enable Ghost of the Deep. I'm begging you. Again, people are tagging them, and I've shown you there's nothing. May 6th, their last tweet. May 12th, maybe. But again, I have seen no communication from Bungie on this issue. They're just doing it, and I guess they'll address it in the twit on Thursday. Scarrow basically said, uh-oh, I'll click on this in a second, but they said they legit just killed any interest people had in this event. Tone deaf once again, completely. Yeah, you had people that are hyped, and now they just killed that hype. Because he said, all right, place your last minute bets. Will we get Ghost of the Deep today, or will it be 2 more weeks of Spire? My bets are on 2 more weeks of Spire. See, Scarrow knows, and I can't say I'm surprised either. If I had heard about this rumor, I probably would have bet on 2 more weeks of Spire too, just because, like Ember said, they're moving weird. They fucking will do anything for their weekly active user metrics. 2 more weeks of Spire would be such a momentum killer. Yup. Cactus HD, another huge creator. No shot at Spire the Watcher again. Bruh. Like, just can't believe it. And then, yep, typical Bungie shit. It's classic. What else we got? NA Painter. Love when Bungie says the dungeons will be on a weekly focus, but it's actually bi-weekly. Actually, tri-weekly, yeah. Sorry, Painter. But yeah, Sweatsicle showed that clip, and maybe that guy misspoke. Maybe he didn't even know the schedule, that developer from Sweatsicle's little clip. But yeah, it's just super unfortunate. Spire of the Watcher is the featured dungeon in Rite of the Nine this week again. Melting smiley face. I've never gamed to someone who actually liked this dungeon. Let's see. I didn't feel like clicking a button to activate the other 2 dungeons. Everyone's gonna get so tired of Spire, totally. Cactus, hey Destiny 2 team, are you able to clarify? Again, a big creator like Cactus adding them, and no reply on this, no reply on their main social feeds, nothing. They're just sticking their head in the sand and letting the backlash come. And at the end of the day, it's not going to affect them. So many people have asked me if I'm getting Edge of Fate, and whether I think it looks good or bad, whatever, it's a personal issue for me that I do not want to support Bungie's manipulative practices any longer. I don't want to give them any more money, but more importantly, I don't want to give them any more of my time. Honestly, they don't deserve it. Like I said, I enjoy their game. Hell, I made a YouTube channel around the game. I enjoyed it so much. But the issues have been growing wider and larger by the month, honestly. Like, I made that video in December, and then it's just been a precipitous downhill slope for my mental health with the game because the bugs are getting worse. The development team is also a lot less. They're balancing Marathon now. They've had all those layoffs. So sure, Edge of Fate does have a lot of good changes. They've got a testing ground, an armor overhaul, new tiered weapon system, new light level changes, all these things that I think are really, really good. But the actual amount of content that you're going to get, I think personally will be lacking just because of common sense. Like I said, they have less developers, and all these giant system changes take a ton of work. So by putting those developer resources into that, I don't think it's going to be very deep. And and like, look at how episodes were. They absolutely crushed with Final Shape, but Echoes was a joke. Revenant was actually, I liked Revenant a lot more than most people. And then Heresy, I was just done. I hated the Nether, and that's like the main thing. But even with that, there's 2 upgrade paths now to try to milk more time out of you. And the time it takes to level those up is like way worse than anything I've ever seen. Like, again, I didn't play a ton of Nether because I didn't like it, but I'm only like rank 7 on 1 upgrade path. I never unlocked the Tome of Want. Never jumped through any of the hoops that Bungie wanted me to because, like I said, I don't feel like they earn my time and money investment anymore because they don't. It's minimum viable product to the max. Like even this, I think Rite of the Nine is cool. Is it as good as Pantheon? No, it's surely not as good as Into the Light. But even if you compare with Pantheon, Pantheon was super well received. This is just, again, minimum viable product. I love dungeons and contest stuff, but yeah, it's like 3 weeks worth of content that they're going to stretch out into 9 weeks. And I really think that's how Edge of Fate's going to be. There's going to be a lot of core fundamental changes to the game, but I don't think it's going to be very deep from like an amount of content to do. Like Final Shape was overwhelming with the amount of content to do. So there are 9 weeks of quests anyway, no matter which way the dungeons come out. 10,000% this. I understand that 9 weeks of quests instead of 3 is almost certainly to keep player population up week over week. You can get rid of almost, it certainly is, but he's being nice. I do not understand how making it a 3-week rotation instead of 1 week rotation helps player pop at all. Exactly. People were pumped to play it, and then they would have known the strats for the next time they come around, and then they could have efficiently grinded like 3 weeks from now when Spire's back in rotation. So you're gonna get 9 weeks worth of rotation anyways. You could have done 1 for 9 weeks, but instead you do 3 and piss everybody off. What the fuck's the point? That's been my question this entire time. Yeah, I guess it's just that the headlining thing will be every time a dungeon rolls around, so some will opt to return each week, others will come when a new dungeon pops up. And so wait, does this mean dungeons are on a 3-week cycle? Yeah, 3-week cycle. So 1 week rotations would result in the hardcore finishing all ultimatum modes on week 3, and then they just log in for 30 minutes for an eternity run for the rest of the event. 3-week rotations would cause playtime spikes at week 4 and week 7. Yes, I mean, that is how it would be. So yeah, this is the only thing I could think of too. I wouldn't have guessed that they'd prefer spikes spread out, but yeah, I think they do prefer that. Obviously not something I spend a lot of time thinking about though. Somebody does though. They're super manipulative, and they've got psychologists or whatever working there so that they can be like, how do we keep people playing every single week no matter the cost? Bungie, when it comes to making the worst rollouts for everything possible. Again, this is by design. We all hate it because they don't respect the player. These aren't player-driven decisions. They're balance sheet focused decisions. Y'all got to work on the vague and exploitative wording, Bungie. 97% of people in chat today were under the impression that it was a one contest dungeon every week. Literally zero reason. Again, I've explained the reason, but not for players. Literally zero reason / incentive to timegate this. Oh, other than to farm player login numbers. That's 100% all it's for. What's he saying here?
Spire is the featured dungeon.
It's still that same clip. Glad. You know, I wasn't going to hop on Destiny today, but fuck it. Super excited to run some Ghost of the Deep alt mode. Can't wait. Cleared my whole day. Gaming soon. Yeah, Glad's a troll, but I like it. Like a good troll. Like it's obviously a sarcastic post. Man, I'm kind of surprised it's Spire the Watcher again. This is cheese forever. Feel like that should have been mentioned somewhere. Exactly. Just mention it. Just own it. Fucking own it. That's the other thing. They hide behind this, oh, we care about you bullshit. No, they don't. Just quit the veil of that you give a shit about your player base, because your actions for years have proven that you don't. But with the attrition modifier, it's definitely going to be harder than last week. So I didn't realize attrition is on, but yeah, hopefully you farmed last week, which I'm sure all the hardcores did. But yeah, my mental health expectations for today went from a 10 to a 2. Huge miss, IMO. 3 weeks of Spire is wild. And then Paul Tassi, probably enough yelling about Spire again this week at this point to change the plan for next time. I replied, yep, then they will look like good guy Bungie. Hey look, we listened. Do something ridiculously stupid so the bar's on the ground, then don't do it in the future so they look good by comparison and get praise. That's pretty much what they're doing. Because if they do, they're probably not going to put out Ghost of the Deep, but if they do, they'll be like, hey, they listened, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you created this mess in the first place. So you doing right by the players after you pissed everyone off is not a win. And yeah, I'm just so fucking sick of Bungie. Quit being shitty to your players, man. You've driven a 10,000 hour player away like me. Destiny is the only game I've ever spent microtransactions on. I bought silver so I could skip campaigns because I'm a content creator, and I would actually make videos on that and actually make money on the back end by doing that. So it was actually like a net win for me. But what I'm saying is I never buy microtransactions. Destiny was the one game I ever made that exception for. And do I regret it? No, because again, like I made money off it. But like I just do not want to support them, no matter how good they make Destiny in the future. I'm not ever gonna buy Marathon. I might play the beta if it's free, but I will never spend another dime on a Bungie game, and hopefully I don't spend much more time on them either. So again, I feel like they're just trying to churn out minimum viable product to, yeah, just milk a new player base. That's what they're all about now. Huge props to these indie devs, like the ones making Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I'm going to start streaming that next week because they're people that actually care about making great games, and Bungie has really stopped giving a shit about what makes games good. They just care about how can they milk the most money. And yeah, this is just another example of them caring about their metrics more than their players. So I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.